Donald Trump just went after a judge, but not just any judge. This was a judge he appointed himself. And the reason? Massive sanctions. But here's the twist. This isn't just another courtroom drama. This is about power. And what happens when the system you've built starts to turn on you? Imagine being in the hot seat, watching everything you've worked for start to crumble. What does that mean for the rest of us? Stick around because you won't believe what comes next. So, what exactly happened? Judge Novak, a Trump appointee, did something no one saw coming. He slapped sanctions on a top prosecutor working for the DOJ. But it's not just the sanctions that are raising eyebrows. It's how this all connects to a much bigger pattern. Trump's own team, the very people who should be supporting him, are now at war with each other in courtrooms. You've got to ask, how does this affect the bigger picture? Is this a sign that the system Trump built is starting to fall apart? Stick with me. This is just the beginning. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The DOJ, led by people Trump personally appointed, comes out swinging against Judge Novak. They're accusing him of overstepping his bounds. They claim Novak's decision to call out Lindsay Halligan, who's been illegally presenting herself as a top federal prosecutor, was a blatant abuse of power. But here's the thing. When a judge tells you that you're breaking the law, you don't just ignore it. You don't keep going as if nothing happened. Notice what's missing here. The DOJ isn't denying the facts. They're not denying Halligan misrepresented herself. Instead, they're attacking the judge who pointed it out. Why? This is the moment everything flips. It doesn't stop there. The situation is heating up fast. What's happening here isn't just a legal squabble. It's a sign of something much bigger at play. Think back to similar moments in history when powerful people have clashed in public. What do we see? An erosion of trust, a breakdown in the system that's supposed to keep everything in check. The moment Novak, a Trump-nominated judge, slaps sanctions on one of Trump's top people, you know things are about to spiral. This should not be normal. A judge holding one of Trump's appointees accountable for dishonesty, that's a problem. But it's happening, and the stakes are rising higher by the second. Now, this is where the real contradictions come into focus. The DOJ's response to Judge Novak is not just an argument, it's a fight against the very principles of justice. They argue that Novak's actions are a violation of legal procedure. But here's where it gets messy. They're claiming that Halligan's title doesn't matter, even though it was deemed illegal. The DOJ doesn't deny Halligan misrepresented herself. What they deny is that this should have any impact on the case. But think about this for a second. If a prosecutor is lying about their credentials, what kind of precedent does that set? If a judge calls that out, how can anyone trust that the system is functioning the way it should? This isn't just about Halligan. This is about the integrity of the entire legal process. And then it gets even worse. You've got three separate things happening here all at once. First, Halligan's misconduct is getting buried. Then the DOJ is backing her up as if what she did doesn't matter. Finally, Novak's decision to sanction is now being questioned by those who should know better. It's like a snowball gaining speed and no one's stopping it. But here's the critical question. What happens if this continues? What if every time a prosecutor lies about their credentials, there's no consequence? What if this becomes the new normal? The truth is, the longer this drags on, the more we lose control over the very system that's supposed to protect us. Now, let's step away from the legal jargon and talk about what this really means for you. Imagine you're in a courtroom facing the government and the person prosecuting your case isn't even legally qualified to do so. What does that do to your trust in the system? It makes everything feel like a setup, doesn't it? The system that's supposed to protect you is now in question. What happens when this kind of behavior spreads? When people start to wonder if the rules apply to everyone or just the powerful? If you've ever felt the weight of an unjust system, you know exactly how this feels. If this situation resonates with you, drop a comment below. I'm curious to know if you've ever seen the justice system bend this way before. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. This isn't just a rogue prosecutor or a wayward judge. This is a system that, for all its flaws, was designed to keep power in check. But what happens when that system starts protecting the very people it should hold accountable? There's a mechanism here that lets these things happen. Whether it's leverage, fear, or the spectacle of power, the system is being manipulated to serve those in control. And the scariest part? It's happening right under our noses. The more this continues, the less justice means, the less we can rely on the system we've built to protect fairness. This isn't just about one case. It's about a much deeper problem with how power operates within our legal system. So what happens next? There are two paths that this could take. First, the situation could escalate. More courts could step in, more judges could make waves, and the legal system could start to unravel even further. It could create a ripple effect where every single defendant challenges the legitimacy of their prosecutor, questioning the very foundation of the legal process. On the other hand, the system might clamp down, silencing critics and tightening control over the process, trying to maintain order before it completely falls apart. The problem is no one really knows what direction this is going to take. The momentum is building, and the next move could change everything. The big question now is, who's going to make the next move? Here's the one thing that stands out. This entire saga is more than just about Trump, his appointees, or even the courts. It's about the fabric of the system itself and whether it can hold up under pressure. Because when trust in the system breaks down, what's left? The real takeaway here is that this is only the beginning. What happens next will be critical, and it's already set the stage for more battles ahead. Stay tuned, because as the story unfolds, we'll be here to break it all down. Make sure you're subscribed to keep up with the latest developments. This isn't over yet. HAP 8 HT1.